Hello and welcome to my channel. This is part 8 of our Let's Get Cooking series. Last time we delved a little bit into C++. We made our Kitchen Manager actor and we also made a C++ library to handle a menu system and get our Kitchen Manager. I was going to split this video into two videos, setting up the Kitchen Manager further and then implementing the spreading of the butter, etc. But I decided the last video we did a lot of work for no real visual result. And if I did that this time, we'd have the next video would be similar, it'd just be lots of work and we don't really see anything happening. So I decided to incorporate the two. If this is a long video, I do apologize in advance. I'll try and keep it as short as I can. Okay, so let's get to our project. First thing we need to do is go into our project, go into our blueprints folder, into our interfaces folder, and we need to make two new interfaces. Okay. The first one is going to be, so let's go blueprint interface, and we're going to call this BPI underscore kitchen manager. And for now we can duplicate that and we're going to call this one BPI ingredient. Okay. Make sure you save those. First of all, let's implement them and then we'll add functions as we go along. So last time in our core blueprints folder, we made our kitchen manager. So we're going to open that up. Open it up in the full editor. Go to your class settings and we're going to add the BPI underscore kitchen manager. Let's open it, it should show up. At the moment, it doesn't show anything here because it's empty. That's fine. Next, we're going to go to our blueprints folder, our parent blueprint, our BPP ingredients. Again, class settings, and we're going to add BPI underscore ingredients. And again, it won't show up anything different here to what we already have because we haven't got anything in it. Okay, so you can now go ahead and close those two. And we're going to open up our first one is we're going to open up our interface BPI kitchen manager. Give me 1 second to open it up in my other project. Okay, so we're going to add 3 functions. Okay, we're going to have one called set stage. Oh, why is it not typing? Set stage complete. We're going to add another one. We'll give current stage. And another one called start new order. There will be a lot more added to this later on. Now start new order, and we need to add some inputs and outputs to these, but we don't have what we need to do them. So let's go ahead and make them. So you can compile that, leave this open for now. Go to your content drawer, go to our data assets, and we're going to make a new data asset. Okay. And I'm just going to check what I made it from. Double check. Okay, so we're going to make this as a blank. So we're going to go to our blueprint class, all classes, and we're going to search for primary data asset, select that. We're going to call this DA underscore recipe. Okay, that's the first thing we need to make. We'll fill it out as we go along. We save everything. Next thing we need to make is in our enums folder. So we go to our data, our enums folder. We've got the 2, we're going to make another enum. So we go to blueprint, enumeration. We're going to call this E underscore prep stages. I'm going to open that one up straight away. I'm going to add some stuff to that one while we're here. We're going to add quite a few. So the first one is going to be none. Number 2 is spread butter. Spread jam. You can see where this is going. This will be all of the different processes that we go through in our cooking stages. So that we chop, slice, toast bread in toaster. Chop only we prefer to put a capital C. Save as I go along. First we've got add to pan. Oh. Add to delivery carton. Send for delivery. Add one more. It's going to be on chopping board. Okay, up there. Okay, so we've got those for now. Make sure you save it. We will be adding to this as the series goes on, so don't worry too much. We can go ahead and close that. We can go back to our VPI Kitchen Manager, and let's start adding some things to these. So set stage complete is the first one. Make sure you highlight it, and here we need to add an output, and it's just going to call it stage, and it's going to be that enum we just made, E underscore prep stages. I'll save that. Give current stage, basically the same. Okay, so add an output, let's call it stage. We're going to call it current stage. Okay, and then the last one, start new order. It's going to have an input, and the input's going to be recipe, and type is going to be our DA underscore recipe that we just made. Okay, so that's all we need to do in this one. We can go ahead and close that. Now let's look at our next one, which is the ingredients one. So we're going to go to our blueprint, interfaces, BPI ingredients. And at the moment, we're only going to add one function to this. So the function has no inputs, no outputs, so nice and simple. And we're just going to apply spreadable. And that's it. Compile and save that. Go ahead and close that. We're done there. Just so that we've got something to be working with, we're going to now go to our data folder. Our data assets. Okay. We've got items data in here, which we've also got our food. But we're also going to add a new folder. We're just going to call it recipes. So I spelled that wrong. It should be IES. Those words I can never spell. Okay, so we're going to open that folder, right click, go to miscellaneous. We're going to make a data asset, and we're going to look for our DA underscore recipe. Select that, and we're going to call this DA underscore bread and jam. Okay. At the moment, we're only going to be doing some simple recipes. Later on, we will be adding a lot more. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this, and we're going to call this DA change the bread to that. Okay, so we've got two recipes. Let's get rid of the one on the end. We've got two recipes we're going to play with, but if we open them up, nothing in here, okay, because we haven't set anything in our main data asset, and that's what we're going to do now. So I want you to open up the data recipe, DA underscore recipe. We're going to add a few variables in here. And again, like we did before with the toaster, we're going to be using maps because they work well for what we need to do. So we're going to add, the first variable we're going to add is the name. So the name of the recipe. We can make that a text. Then we're going to add a description. It's also going to be a text. Then we're going to add an ingredient list. And this is going to be type, double checking, change here of DA underscore ingredients. But it's going to be a map, okay, and we're going to leave it as an integer for the second part because it's basically like later on down the road you might need to have X amount of an ingredient. Okay. Like 2 slices of cheese or whatever we decide to do. Okay, and we're basically going to duplicate this one, and then instead of calling ingredients list, we're going to call it a utensils list, and it should be DA underscore. Okay, we haven't made the utensils yet, so let's go ahead and quickly make that. So back to our drawer here. We can create a child from our D8 base. I'm going to call it DA utensils. Okay, I'll save that. Back in here, in our utensil list, we're going to choose DA underscore utensils. Okay. Next thing we're going to add is another variable, and we're going to call it cooking time. That's exactly what it says on the tin. This is going to be a single variable. So we're going to go back here and change it to a single, and it's going to be of type float. I like to keep compiling it just to be on the safe side. Okay, so the next one we're going to add is an icon. So later on when we get to our UI, we can have an icon showing up. And this is going to be a texture 2D. We're going to choose the soft object reference. And two more, so we're nearly done with this. Oh, button. We get another one, and it's called instructions. These are the steps. So if you prefer to call it recipe steps, whatever makes sense to you, but I've called it instructions. This is going to be of type integer, but we're going to make it a map, and it's of our prep stages. Okay, and the next one we're going to call prep stages. It's a map, and it's going to be of type prep stages. And the second half is going to be E underscore ingredients name that we made last time or time before, I believe. And that's it. So that's all we need in here. Compile here. We can close that. Now let's go ahead and populate our two recipes that we've got. So open up our bread and jam. Okay, so we have an ingredients list as a map. We're going to add one. We're going to add our bread. Okay, so that's the raw basic ingredient. Later on we will be changing this because we will be adding it so that it actually uses different ingredients as well, but just to get this going today, I've sort of missed out some stages that we're going to add later. Okay, so I'm just double checking what I put in the recipe, so give me a second. Right, so utensils list, we haven't got anything at the moment. Cooking time I've left a 0, icon I've left because we don't have them at the moment. Instructions, we're going to add 1. You see it's 0, I want you to add 1. And where it says none, we're going to say spread butter. So the first thing that we're going to do is spread the butter. We're going to add another. That's going to be 2. And this is going to be spread jam. In our prep stage, it's going to be fairly similar, but a little bit different. We're going to add 1. Spread butter. We're going to use butter. Add another. Spread jam. We're going to use jam. These all we said earlier. Okay. Okay, and we can now go ahead and do our toast. So let's do our toast. The toast is more or less the same. In fact, one thing I did miss on our butter, bread and butter, is I didn't put a name. So let's go ahead and we can do that. I'm just going to copy and paste for speed. Bread and jam is what it is. And the description is bread with generous amounts of butter and delicious strawberry jam. Okay, just put whatever you want in it. It's just for our recipe book later on. We're going to go ahead and do our toast one now. Again, I'm going to just copy and paste these because save a little bit of time for you guys. And I'll just, the description basically the same, I'll just put delicious slice of toast. Okay, the map elements are going to be the same because we start off with raw bread, we don't start off with toast, okay, because that's part of our things that we need to do. So in our ingredients list, we're going to add one, and it's going to be our bread. Everything else, same, so we're going to add one here, and this is going to be 1. And this is going to be toast bread in toaster. 2. Bread butter, pretty well the same as it was before. 3. Bread jam. We're going to add an element here, and it's going to be toast bread in toaster. There's no ingredients needed. Add another bread butter. Butter. Add another bread jam. Okay. These prep stages here are used more for telling other things, like later on we'll be having a knife, so that telling it that what we need on that knife and do we have the right thing on the knife. So it's for us to access it so that so the player can't skip the game, i.e. if he's got butter on his knife and he should have jam, he can't spread it. And we can then give him some feedback on that. Okay, and these instructions basically are the stages that we're going to use to know where we're at to do various things. Okay, so go ahead, save that. You can close those two down. We're done with those. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our meshes, and we're going to import a new mesh. And we're going to make up a couple of quick materials. So let me just get my other project in the same place. Okay. Again, this mesh I will give you in the asset pack. Okay, so we're going to do it in ingredients in bread because it's all part of the bread. Put it somewhere else if you want to. Right click, import to current folder. I'm going to drag it off here for now. You will get when you unzip the file that's in the Google Drive link that I'm sending you, you will get a folder like this. It'll have artwork, audio, CPP files, which I'll put in from the last video, meshes and textures. Okay. Open up our mesh. You've already got your bread that we've already got. Our spreadables, we're going to import that. Now, because I'm using 5.7, it does this weird material. I'm going to scroll all the way down until I find materials and don't import materials. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to click import. You can leave it at the current size, I believe. No, because that was a toaster, so should be 1. It is 1. Okay. Import it, and you've got your bread layer. This is basically just a blob. It's imported this texture for us. So that helps us. We're going to leave these here. Later on, we're going to do some housekeeping and move stuff around, but that's fine. So what I want you to do now is I want you to make up a new material. I could call it M. underscore spreadable. Okay. I'm going to open that up. Okay. We're going to set the type to mask. So go to here. So make sure you highlight that. Go to here and click it to mask. Because you want opacity. We're going to hold down, I believe it's 4. And we're going to get a constant 4. We're going to convert to a parameter. And we're going to call this color. We can connect that to our base color. Go to our content drawer, get this gentle yellow paint applied thick lay norm. It's a long name. I'm probably shortening the name, but get that. Drag that in. Connect that to normal. See, we've now got a bit of texture to our butter. We're going to press 1 on our keyboard, or hold 1 on our keyboard. Click. Get one of these. Going to set the value to 1, and that's going to go in our roughness. Specular we're going to set to 0. If you don't have this option in your version, then do another 1, join it and set it to 0. You can do it either way. And then we're going to do another 1. This time we're going to convert it to a parameter, and we're going to call it opacity. Later on we may well be playing around changing our opacity. We're going to initially set this to 1. Put that into the opacity mask. Okay, so that's that material done. For an initial color, I'm going to use the basic butter color. So double click that. This is the number here. Whether I can zoom in anymore, I can't zoom in anymore, but it's FFD 839FF for your hex color. That gives us a sort of yellow buttery color. Apply. Save that. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Okay. Go back to our content drawer. We're going to find our spreadable. We're going to create a material instance. We're going to call this butter underscore inst. Duplicate that, and we're going to call this one jam. Go to the end, get rid of the 1. Okay, the butter is fine, that's the color we want, but the jam we need to change. The jam. So you double click it to open it. So you've got our global parameter values. We click on the color. Click on the color. You can change it, and I will give you the color I use, but again, use whatever color you prefer. I used a 4070DFF as a hex color. Just had to playing it around whatever color suited me. Okay, click OK, save that, close that. So we're all set up with that. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of work in our bread blueprint now. So we're going to go back to our blueprint folder, game items, ingredients, and our BP bread. We're going to open that up, open it up in the full editor. I'm just going to close these, look it up, get to the same stage, and do it as quick as I can. Okay, so in our slice of bread here now, we don't do any changes up here. But we're going to go to our viewport, and you should have your pivot, grab point, base mesh. I want you to highlight the pivot, okay, which is there, okay. And then I want you to click Add Static Mesh. We're going to call this Layer 1. Then we're going to click on Layer 1. We're going to add to that one another static mesh. Call it Layer 2. So on Layer 1 and Layer 2, they're going to have the same mesh. So we'll go back to our meshes. It's the mesh that we just imported, which is our Layer 1 and 2 here. So we're going to highlight that, put that on, Layer 1 and Layer 2. Okay, so Layer 1 we're going to use the Butter instance. Layer 2 we are going to use the Jam instance. I looked at many different ways of doing this spreadable thing. So I looked at some complex ones of actually painting it on using decals. The one out the three I preferred was the decals one, but there was a bit of a problem with it because, as I said before, these meshes were generated by AI and they're not the best meshes. I'm not a modeler, so the UVs are not good, and it was basically throwing everything out, both on the painting and that. So I decided to do this just to get it going. Later on down the road, I will try and get some better meshes made out, maybe get somebody to do it with one of you guys as a 3D modeler. Maybe you can share one with us, and then we can maybe use a slightly better version of doing the spreading later on down the line. And how this works, and it works fine. Okay, so you see now this is, if we actually go to top perspective, zoom in, it's not in the right place at all, okay? So our pivot, we're going to move, okay? We're going to move it to negative 10.66. So it's roughly in the middle, okay? And I've got it as negative 0.01. Just drop it down a little bit. Fine. Okay, our layer 1 is going to be set to 0, 0. Our layer 2 will also be set to 0, 0. Did I change the wrong thing? I changed the wrong thing, my apologies. 10.66. Oh, negative 10.66 and 0.1. You see they disappear, which is fine. Okay, because they're slightly below the surface. So we click on layer 1, you see the outline. Click on layer 2, you'll also see them. They're both exactly the same. Okay, the only difference is in layer 1, we're going to change the scale a little bit. So instead of 1, we're going to change it to 1.2. So make sure you've got your little thing clicked, little padlock click. It does them all 1.2. You'll see it's peaking above our layer there. Layer 2, we're going to do to 0.8. Okay. Now I don't want that peaking above there, so I don't know why that's doing that. Pivot. You should drop down to negative. Okay, so it should be negative 0.1, just to drop it just below the surface of our thread, so we don't actually see it. Okay. We're only moving these up a slight amount. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is I go to a Inco think you can see. So what we're going to do is, so you imagine, okay, our layer 1, we're going to raise it ever so slightly in a couple of stages. Oh, not rotation. We're going to raise it to, let me reset that, we're going to say 0.2, 0.2, and then the next say 0.4, until we've got our bread buttered. And then we're going to go for our next stage, and we're going to raise the butter to 0.2. That's all the jam. You see it start to come out there at 0.4, and we've got a jam on it. It's not the best effect. For now, it works, and it sort of adds to the comic slice mixed with reality effect that I wanted for the game anyway. So I'm sort of quite happy with it. But make sure you start these off at 0 so we don't see it. So the other important thing to do, and this is very important, select both layer 1 and layer 2, go down to collision, collision, make sure it ignores everything. You don't want any collision on this whatsoever, because it will affect the physics of the object, and also it will interfere with what we're trying to do. So now we've done that, we can go to our event graph. We're going to make a few variables. We don't have any at the moment. No, we don't. I thought we should have had something. Maybe we're not. Inherited variables. As I say, I thought we had some from last time. Going crazy. That's it. Okay, so we're going to add a few variables. So let's go ahead and add some. First one is going to be current prep stage. And that's going to be our E underscore prep stages. Next one, another function. Next one is going to be, looking over here, number of applications. This makes more sense later on when we use a knife to spread the butter and jam. But basically, it's to say that we have to go over it X amount of times for it to actually have the right amount of butter or jam on the bread. So we're going to do it in 2 stages. You can do it in as many stages as you like. You just change the coding a little bit. Okay, so the next ones I'm going to copy and paste them just to save a little bit of time for you guys, but stop the video and go ahead and add them. So it's layer 1 start Z, which is a float. Layer 2 start Z, also a float. Start position, again a float. End position. Again, these are all floats. Oh. Not doing too well today. Okay, paste variable. Layer 1 end Z, and you probably guessed it already. Layer 2 end Z. These are all floats, okay? Okay, the only ones we have to, I believe, if I remember rightly, is worry about these two. So layer 1 NZ, make sure we compile. We're going to set a default 0.4, which I covered it, it's done it for me. And the layer 2 we're going to do to 0.45. And we're going to add one more variable. We're going to say completed. Now this one is just a temporary variable to stop a little bug I found. We will remove this later on because it will become no longer necessary once we implement the recipe system properly. But for now, we'll keep it in here. Okay, so we've done that. Yeah. So now we've done that, we're going to make a function. And I will do this by hand. I'm not going to copy and paste it because I want to try and explain a little bit of what's going on as we go ahead. So we're going to go ahead and make a new function, and we're going to call this raise layers, which it does exactly what it says. It's going to have an input of alpha, which is of type float. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our number of applications. We can say, is this equal to 1? Okay. This will never be 0 because as soon as we click to apply, it will add it to 1. So this will either be true or false if it's more, false if it's more than 1, true if it's less than if it's 1. We're going to add a branch like that. We're going to get our start position. We're going to add it to here. Then we're going to go from here. We're going to say select. And the selection we're going to use is our current prep stage. Got that on there. It opens up a big list. Later on I may do this a different way because this list could end up getting a little bit out of hand. But for now this works just fine. And we're going to put in the layer 1 start and the layer 2 start here, which are both set to 0. Okay. We're going to do a reroute node here, around here. Oh. I'm not going to do a reroute node here at all. I lied. We're going to do a reroute node here. Okay. And we're going to get our end position. We're going to set our end position here. And from the reroute node. Okay. And basically we're going to copy these two. So we're going to copy these. Into there. And we're going to use, instead of the start, sorry, I made a mistake here on that one. That should be layer 2. So layer 1 end, layer 2 end on spread by that and spread jam. Okay. Now we're going to, it's going to sound a bit strange to do it this way, but we need to do some calculations. First of all, we need to set it to what it is, and then we need to do some calculations on it. So we're going to get our end position again, and we're going to set it again. Now we're going to drag in our end position. We're going to get it, and we're going to divide it The result of division is going to be there. And here we're going to have a select. And in the select, we're going to add number of applications. And we're going to add another pin. Okay. Option 1. So option 0 is just going to stay 0. Option 1 is going to be 2. And option 2 is going to be 1. Oh. 1. Not 0.1. 1. Thank you. Okay. So the reason this is, if we've clicked it once, we don't want it to move up all the way, we want it to move up halfway, so we're dividing it by 2. If it's a second click, then we're dividing the end position by 1, which means it's what it is. Okay. We need to now add a new variable, which I forgot last time because it's hidden under components, and we're going to call this layer to raise, and of type static mesh component. Okay, object references, it goes into components. Why I missed it earlier. Drag that out, we're going to set that. So we're going to choose what layer are we doing. Okay. Again, we're going to do a select. Again, we're going to use our current prep stage. And then we're going to drag in layer 1, spread butter, layer 2, spread jam. Okay. That sets that. We're going to get a layer to raise, and we're going to make sure it's valid. If this is not valid, we don't want any problem. Okay, we're going to get from here, we're going to say set relative location. We don't care about the rotation, we only care about the location. We're going to right click on the yellow pin and split the pin. We're going to drag out of here and we're going to get relative location. Again, we're going to right click on the pin, split the pin. The X and the Y, a little bit of space. The X and the Y both connect to there. From here, we're going to say lerp. The alpha, we're going to say get alpha, which comes in from here. And then we're going to use start position for A and our end position for B, which we just did all the calculations on here. File and save that. That is that function complete. It's the only function we're going to do in here. But we're going to now, first of all, we're going to right click and we're going to say event. I think we called it left click. Yes, we did. BPI interact. So it should come from the BPI interact. Oh, sorry. From the interact interface here, we're going to do event. I'm going to set it here. My apologies. And then we're also going to do, we're going to open up our here, apply spreadable. We're going to double click that, and we're just going to call apply spreadable. We can do it from the function here. That's fine. It will still call the same function. And this is the one that does all the lifting work. So we're going to start now. Dragon arrow is completed. Advance. Okay, if it's false, we're just going to do a print string for now. We will be adding proper messages on the screen later on, possibly next video. We're going to say this recipe is complete. Just to stop spamming it all the time. Okay. So from the false, now this is where we use our work we did last video with our C++. We're going to say get kitchen why can I find it? Bear with me 1 minute. I'm going to have a look to find out what is causing that little problem for me. Sort out the problem. I had to, this is my second attempt at doing today's video, so create a bit of a bug for myself. I've sorted it all out. You shouldn't have this problem. So let's go ahead and get our get kitchen manager, one that we made in our C++ last time. And from here we're going to call, which we made earlier on in our interface, give current state. Join that to there. We're going to get our current prep stage and we're going to set that to that. Okay, so now we're going to do a check saying, you know, are we actually in the right stage to be able to be doing this? So we're going to drag off here and say equal. And we make sure we choose the equal enum, not just the equal. We're going to control C and V that. We're going to copy that, join that here. We're going to say spread butter, spread jam, because that's all that this is doing. And we're going to use an OR Boolean. So if either one of these is true, then this will show true, unlike an AND where they both have to be true. Do a condition. If it's true, we're going to get a number of applications, and we're simply going to do increment int to plus plus, and then we're going to, in there some blank space, we're going to say add timeline. So we're going to add a timeline. We're going to call this layers timeline. Okay. Connect that up to play from start. Okay. Double click to open that up. We're going to set the length to 1. We're going to add a track, float track, we're going to call alpha. We're going to hold down our shift, and we're going to click twice on the line here. First one we're going to set 0, press enter, make sure it's 0, it should end up there. The second one we're going to press 1 and tab it, and 1. It shoots off in the distance. We're going to click on these two for that screen. We're going to make sure both are highlighted in blue by holding down the control key. Right click, auto, that gives us a nice lead in and lead out. Again, up to you whether you use that. It's not going to break anything if we don't. But you must have your timeline, but if you use this auto smoothing, it's up to you. Okay, we can go ahead and close the timeline. Back to our event graph. And we're going to call the raise layers on the update, and that alpha goes to alpha. Okay. We're going to drag in our start position. Got now finished here, and we're going to set it to the end position. Okay, so the end position becomes the new start position. We're going to drag in our number of applications, and because we're going to set this, like I say initially, we're going to set this. We're going to change this code later on when we have our menu system properly, but just to get this working, we're going to say, is this equal to, because we're going to click twice to actually apply our boo or our button jam onto there. Okay. Then we're going to say get kitchen manager again. I'm going to say set stage complete. Then we're going to get our number of applications. We're going to set that back to 0. We're going to do a couple of rewrote nodes off of here. We say, is this equal to none? If it is, we're going to set our completed to true, and we're going to get our kitchen manager again. And we're going to start new order. And again, for now, this is temporary code. So for now, the new order we're going to do, we're just going to start the jam order for now. Okay. That's all we need to do in here. But at the moment, it will not work. I'm just going to stick a little bit of error handling in here, some print strings. So we're going to drag in our current prep stage. I'm going to say, is this equal to toast bread in toaster? Again, we're going to have a proper messaging system to handle this later on. If it's true, we could do a print string, and we're going to say toast the bread first. And if it's false, we're going to say recipe complete, although it should never really get to this point. It might get to this one, but it's never get to this one. Okay, so that's the error handling done. We've done that, but we're going to leave it open just in case we get any little bugs we need to cure. Let me get back to my folder. And we're going to go to our blueprint, our core blueprint. We're going to open up our kitchen manager. And let me just do the same in my reference project. Okay, so first of all, let's deal with some of these interfaces, okay? Let's do give current stage. It's nice and easy. We're going to drag that in. Now we don't have any variables here at the moment, so we're going to have to set them. But we can promote this to a variable. Okay, it's called current stage. It's fine. Okay, we need that one here. we're going to add a new variable. So let's go to our variables and we're going to say current recipe. And this is going to be of type DA recipe. We're going to add another one and we're going to call this stage completed map. Yes, it's another map and it's going to be of type E underscore prep stages of type map and type boolean. Okay. I'll save that, and then we're going to do another variable and we're going to call this prep stages map. And again, it's going to be ePrep stages, but it's the second one is going to be ingredient name. So E underscore ingredient name, and there's that one done. Compile and save that. All the variables we need at the moment. We've done this one, so you can go ahead and close that. We are going to make a new function. So we're going to add a new function. We're going to call it make stage from recipe. Okay. We have an input for recipe, which is going to be our DA recipe. That's one up top here. Okay. Alright, make sure we've got our references sorted. So we're going to drag out of here, we're going to get instructions. Get instructions. We're going to drag in our stage complete map. And we're going to, first of all, we're going to clear it, make sure it's empty, because this is sort of what we do at the beginning of a new recipe. So we clear that. We now for each loop through here. Okay. We again drag in our stage complete map. Oh, not set it, get it. And we add. Next we use a map add. And the map value will go to here. Make sure you do not check that. We want an array, a map of empty, of uncompleted items. Okay, so then we're going to drag again our stage completed map in. We can drag off here and we can say get key value by index. That's the one we want. We want the first index, so we're basically looking for the first stage. Okay. Going to get our current stage right here, and we're going to set that to that. We're going to get our prep stages map. We're going to set that. We're going to get our current recipe. Okay. And we're going to get our prep stages, and we're going to set that to that. That's all we need to do in this function. Okay, and the next function comes from Okay, so the next new function, sorry, get next stage. Okay, no inputs. Get our stage map, stage completed map. We're going to for each through it, like so. And we are going to add a local variable. So you need to click on there, go right the way down to the bottom to variables. I'm going to call this L found. And this is going to be of type Boolean. We get this message because the last one it showed was a map. That's fine. We don't worry about that. We're going to drag out here and we can say, is this not equal enum to none? We don't care about the none value. And the key is equal to false. In other words, if we're not looking at anything, any stage called none, then it must be false. So if the first one is spread butter and it's false in here, then that's what it would be. But if it was true, it will go to the next one, so on and so forth. Click branch. We are going to then drag out of here, give it a couple of revamp nodes. Then we're going to promote to local variable. We're going to call it L stage. And we're going to set that to that. We're going to drag in our L found. And we're going to check that. I'm going to scroll all the way back here. Oh, I didn't click on it. If you click the little down arrow on here, you'll get a break. We're going to break this at this point. Like so. If you don't know, double click the line neater. Okay. So now we're going to get our L found. Good branch. Completed. Going to drag in our current prep stage on true. So if we found something, we want to set this to be our new current stage, which will be the L stage that we set up here. Then I'm going to drag that and drop that on here, give us an output. And we're going to join it out, and I'm going to rename that to current stage. Like so. If this is false, we drag in our current stage, we set it to none, and we return that value. You could just return it to none, but we do need to set this. So that's all we need for that one. Okay, so give current prep stage we've done. So the next one we're going to do is set stage complete. So double click that, open that one up. We're going to get our stage map. Get our stage map. We're going to add. In there. We're going to check that, and it's going to be our current stage. Okay. So now we've set that stage is complete. We now need to run our get next stage here, and we simply return that. Nice and simple. Okay. And the last one we're going to do is start new order. First thing we do is get our recipe, our current recipe, we set that. And then we run our make stage from recipe. Here's our recipe, and that's what we do here. Now, just to give us, again, a recipe for when we start the game, on begin play, I set make stage from recipe. Whereas we would have nothing to select, and I'm just selected. Let's do bread and jam to start. Okay. So I believe that is all we need to do in our Kitchen Manager for now. This will have a lot more code added to it as time goes on. So let's see whether it does actually work. Hit play. Give my machine a moment or two. So if I go over to here, our bird, we still get the same message. We can still pick our bird up, no problem. Oh. Put it back there. Now if I right click, sorry, left click, you can see butter started to come, butter's complete. I need to adjust it, it's hanging off the edge a little bit. Jam starting to come, jam complete. I can then go to this one, do the same thing, and it works. Lovely. Okay. If I just, if I've got an error. See what that error is. Set stages. Probably because here, we've got a recipe here, but it hasn't set the current recipe. So what we'll do, just to get over that, is we'll set the current recipe to let's set the current recipe to bread and jam for now. Okay. This will just stop that error, hopefully. We'll connect that to there. But if I set that current recipe, this is what we're going to do to toast and jam. Let's go ahead and try and play again. Go, where's my table down there? A little bit laggy. Okay. Now if I left click on here, it sends a message, toast the bread first. Let's try that. We'll pick up our bread. Now this won't work because there is something I forgot to do. I'll show you that in a moment. In fact, no point going ahead and doing it. We'll go ahead and do it. So at the moment, we don't know whether that stage is complete from our toaster. So we need to go to our toaster, blueprints, game items, appliances, toaster. And just double check where I put that. Save me looking around for ages. Yes. Right, so on pop-up toaster, pop-up toast here. We've got this here, we're just going to pull out our thing here. We're going to get our Kitchen Manager. Lovely jubbly. And we're going to say set stage complete. Like so. And compile. Let's go and try this now. Okay, so like I say, if I try and left click, it says toast the bread first, so let's pick up our bread. Chuck it on our toaster, drop our toaster down. Let it pop up. We can pick up our toast, drop it down. Now if I left click, up comes our butter. Up comes our jam. And away we go. Now if I go to try and click here, it says this recipe is complete. It doesn't try to add more butter or jam. Now because at the end of our bread one we set it to be butter and jam, this one should work because it's not toasted. Let's set the new one there. Like I say, we will be doing this through a menu system which we'll be implementing very soon. Okay, that's about it for today. I'm sorry if this has been a little bit long. I'm not sure how long it is. Have a quick look. It's been a little bit long today. I apologise for that, but I wanted to get it so at least you can see something working from all your hard work. If you like my videos, don't forget to like, subscribe. Have any problems, any queries, give me a comment. Join my Discord, talk to me on Discord. If you don't like it, send me a comment, tell me why you don't like my videos. But please keep them civil. I try to keep this family orientated and there's no need for being rude to people that are trying their best on YouTube. If you really like my work, don't forget to check out my Patreon, or if you feel like it, buy me a coffee. In the Patreon, you will get access to project files, you will get access to some videos early and some extra content. Maybe I will make some extra videos for Patreon viewers. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.